I choose to awaken to divine possibilities. Let's say that together. I choose to awaken to divine possibilities. This is a very profound moment, because it's this moment. And when I understand that, when I really understand that I choose every single moment how I'm perceiving what I call reality, and beyond that, how I'm actually creating reality based on my lens. And the talk today is awake within the dream. And if you notice, I didn't say awaken from the dream. This is a very conscious title because, I can be real with you, I spent 20 years trying to awaken from the dream. I don't really want to be here on planet Earth. I look around and I see all these horrible things happening. This was really my narrative. I'm just being real with you. I want to get out of this reality. I don't want to be in this reality. I want to choose a different reality. So I went about choosing a reality other than what I could see. And then in a flash and in a process, a wise person once said it can take a lifetime or it can happen in an instant, that I can touch reality. And the reality is there actually isn't anything happening out there. And so I was trying to awaken from something that wasn't even really happening in the first place. No wonder I was so tired. That was exhausting. I need the world to change so that I can be free. And we have stuff happening in the world right now. And that's what we call collective consciousness and or the dream. And so we come together as humanity, and during one moment this morning, I was thinking about my mother. I love you, Mom, if you're watching. She likes to watch. She realized I was a very sensitive young man when I was a little kid. I was a very sensitive boy. At a time and a place when sensitive boys weren't necessarily celebrated for being sensitive boys in Indiana in the late 1960s. Just saying it. Just saying it.
Wow.
Right? And I remember her saying she thought she needed to teach me the ways of the world so that she could protect me. See, her intention was, I want to keep him safe from what's about to happen. And therefore, she taught me a version of reality that I decided was true. And because I decided it was true, it became true. Right? The world wasn't ready for a little sensitive boy. And yet what I have discovered is, as I understand the power in that, the world loves a sensitive boy. Did the world change?
No.
Did I change reality? Did I change mine? And because there was a fundamental decision, and that's why I love the affirmation, I choose to see the infinite possibilities. I choose to see and experience the divine and infinite potentiality in this moment. There are two memes that I want to share with you, and these might be repeats, and I'm okay with that. One of the things about not really, I used to prepare. I used to have a lot of notes because I knew that what I needed to say was oh so important. And really it's la 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 la, right? Because what we're really here doing is we're playing in an energy exchange. That's really what we're doing. And so we're having this moment, and the words really ultimately don't matter. And so one of the reasons I used to prepare so much, like pages of notes that I would read from, is because I thought it had to be just right. And then it became bullet points, because I needed training wheels. I promise I'm going to get to these memes in a moment, but my dad, I'm going to tell a story about my dad now that I told a story about my mom. When I was learning how to ride a bicycle, I had training wheels on. And my dad realized that I actually wasn't even really using the training wheels. I was really riding the bike, but I didn't yet know that. And so he said, how about if we take one of the training wheels off and then that other one will keep you upright. And I believed that, but what I didn't realize is that I was riding the bike without the training wheel touching the ground. And then he let me know that training wheel actually isn't holding you up. You've been riding the entire time. Now that's a metaphor, or or a parable or a lesson or a message for us. We've actually been riding our bike perfectly all along. And maybe we believe that we need these training wheels. And so for me, at one point, bullet points to my talk was a training wheel I thought I needed. And then I realized that what wants to emerge in the moment might be really different than what I put on the paper 3 days earlier. Now, the downside to that, or the shadow side, it's not a downside, but I might repeat myself sometimes because I don't have notes. So if I've said this, you're welcome. You're welcome. Because if it's supposed to emerge again, it is. So there are two memes that I love. One is a meme of a New Age fair. And there are 3 booths at the front of this New Age fair, and people are lining up in front of them. One says, past life regressions. Long line of people wanting to learn about their past lives. Another one said, I read your future. Long line of people that wanted a spiritual reading about their future. And then the one in the middle said, present moment experience. No one was in line. Right? And so, is that true in my life? Do I want some kind of predictability? Am I looking at the past, trying to make sense of it? We had a profound workshop together a few weeks ago where we really looked at the collective stories that we're carrying around about the past. And how does that color? So if I'm standing in the line of like, let me know about my past lives, or as our friend Michael Beckwith says, we don't have past lives, only past chapters. There's only one life. Right? So if I'm looking at the past chapters, am I really present for this one? And yet in the most paradoxical way in my own journey, I've had to make some peace with the past in order so that I could move into that line of present moment experience. And yet everything is a fundamental decision. Is everything a miracle or is nothing? And if I choose everything, what do I see? I see everything as a miracle. Some of us have forgotten the miracle of life, and those of us who are blessed to live by the ocean, how can we not imagine it's a miracle or realize it's a miracle? When we look at really what's happening, and yet then maybe what we do instead is, oh yeah, that ocean sure is a miracle. Yeah, that tree's beautiful. Isn't it amazing it grows? Let me turn on the news and hear what's really happening in the world.
Or not.
Or not, right? And so it really is, as we've been discussing over the last few months, it's a frequency, and I tune into a frequency. And stories and words have frequencies. And sometimes we call them political parties, right? If we all get into agreement, then we can be part of this group. And I was reflecting on this as I was driving in yesterday. I was reflecting on groupthink. And groupthink can be really great because it can help us feel safe. I want to be really clear. I think that's the intention. If you look back throughout history, we needed to find our tribe in order to survive. So it's in our DNA that we find our people, right? Whatever that means to us. And of course, the shadow side to that is very obvious. If I find my people, then what does that mean about? It's those people. And so I immediately create duality in the way I am connecting with myself and others. Now we could say, what's wrong with that? Duality is a fine thing. What does it create when I believe that I must find people to agree with me? We also call that religion, by the way. Right? Or support groups. There's a lot of different words for this, and we often hear ourselves or each other saying, I'm looking for like-minded people. In other words, I'm looking for a group of people who agree with me. There's an issue with this, though. Let's say that you, I agree with this political party. You know, I'm not afraid to talk about politics. I won't get into any details, but I think it's great because it's a perfect demonstration of the human ego. Perfect demonstration. I found this group of people who agree with me. Oh, but wait, they just said that, and I'm not sure if I really agree with that. Oh, but I better, if I want to be part of the group. Right, so what does that create? It creates me not being aware or awake within the dream. It means I've co-signed on the dream. I'm in the dream. And the dream can be a lovely, lovely thing, and the dream can sometimes turn into a nightmare. And so rather than thinking I need to step out of that and awaken from it, can I wake up in it? And I love what Buddha said. Yeah. Are you a man or a god? I am awake. And what I'm hearing in this moment when I hear that is, I am neither and I am both. Right? So if it's true, the foundational principle of unity, that there is one presence and one power, that means there is one presence and one power. And that means that each of us is a spark of that. That the Big Bang actually was us, particles of love. And for me to understand that is a recognition that I don't need to change the dream, that I wake up within it and know who and what I am. And then we start building a group of people not on our agreement from the mind, but our agreement from beingness. And that supersedes any opinion I've ever had. Because my mind has so many. This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. I like it when it's 72, but not 75. Right? All the things the mind does. And I really literally, and I mean this with some degree of humility, I spent 20 years trying to change my mind. And I did it with you trying to use unity principles to change my mind. And I want to be clear, it really helped. It helped because I had a narrative that I was carrying around that was creating a lot of division and separation. And so when I realized thoughts create reality, then I thought, oh, I can change my thoughts and change my reality. Absolutely true. And then there was this point when I realized that thoughts are what I have, but not who I am. My body is what I have, but it's not who I am. My emotions are what I have, but not who I am. And yet they're all sacred. Not to be rejected. Not to be, I don't have to worry about what I eat or if I exercise because I'm not my body. And true. If I want my body to be healthy, I might want to also, take care of that part of it. So the mind in the same way, it's like if I say I'm not my thoughts, then is it really about changing the thoughts? Or is it really about observing the thoughts from the place of essential beingness, God essence, true nature, whatever word we use? When I become the observer of my own thoughts and see where there is judgment, not if there is judgment, but where there is judgment, I can have a compassionate lens at which I'm looking at that through. In other words, I don't need to lasso or harness or change or wrangle with or fight. Do you hear all those words? Yeah. That's how I used to be with my mind for only 20 years. And I don't mean my first 20 years, I mean from 20 to 40. Right? When I came into new thought and came into recovery and all these things, and I started to wake up to a different possibility, I was at war with myself. And it was subtle at some points, but I realized, just like I once believed the world needs to change in order for me to be free, I also thought I needed to learn how to control my mind. So for me, awake within the dream is being able to observe the mind and see it for what it is. That there are literally thousands of thoughts that we can have at any moment. Maybe I'm not responsible for my first thought. I am responsible for what I do with that thought. Do I feed that thought? Do I entertain that? Do I observe it compassionately and say, thank you for sharing? I see you, divisive thought. I see you, othering thought. I see you believing you're better than or less than someone else. I see you. I honor you. I hold you in a very tender place. And I declare, or I recognize, that there's a greater reality. That there is infinite beingness. And that's the truth of who and what I am. And when I consciously choose to view the world through this projector, life becomes very, very interesting and exciting. Think about a roller coaster. What makes the roller coaster fun? Is it the part where you're just kind of cruising along, or is it climbing up, that anticipation, down the hill, right? And when I realize in the same way that this dream is an adventure, this humanity that we've chosen possibly to be here right now, and I believe we have, because the world is hungry for love. And we are the lovers. And anything else is an illusion that I've created. Well, who am I? Who am I to be the brightest light in the world? And as Marianne Williamson says, who are we not to be? Right? Who are we not to be? The other meme, I promised I'd get to it. In my mind, I did. There's a meme of a person standing in front of a crowd, and he says, "Who wants change?" And everyone raises their hands. "Who wants to change?" So, this is a profound moment in the evolution of humanity. Because more and more of us are awake to a greater possibility for our lives and for the world. And we are no longer waiting for the master to come. We realize that that is who and what we are. That each of us now is capable and ready and embodying what the great mystical and spiritual teachers have been teaching us for thousands of years. We are now ready and we are embodying it in a new and profound way. So what was once for Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, we could name other people, is the truth of who and what we are. And it's our calling and it's our destiny, because the destiny is now. Right here in this moment, we make a fundamental decision that we're going to look at life through the lens of infinite possibilities, divine unfolding. So how does this play out practically? And I'm going to try to give a little practical piece here in closing. It's very, very simple, actually. When I look at the world as broken, I experience the world as broken, and I add to the brokenness by trying to fix it. Do you hear that? And so if we're activists, sometimes we hear, when we think of activists, we think of fighting against. And so spiritual activism can have that same flavor, even if it's subtle. And so what am I standing for? What am I standing in? What am I awake within? So we can call off the search and rest in the truth that has always been, that the training wheels have always been the illusion. I need this group to think like me in order to stay on course. I need someone in my life to hold me up so I can stay on course. And the truth is that each of us is a spark of divinity. Each of us is being called. We are being called. We have been called. And guess what? We've said yes. If you're sitting in this room or watching right now on Facebook Live, you've already said yes to the call. Because the call is every single moment. And the call is so simple. I love esoteric concepts. But there's a profound simplicity in understanding our true nature. And what I love about that is, I love my Buddhist friends. And I think, Buddha was teaching us how to attain enlightenment. And now there are people all around the Buddhist teachings saying, no, what Buddha was teaching us is to do this exactly this way, perfectly. And if you do it perfectly, you'll be enlightened. We're already enlightened, everyone. Enlightened is who and what we are. Everything else is the illusion, the story that we've been gathering, and all that needs to happen is an instantaneous recognition of that truth. I remember in the early 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, I went to see Amachi, and I went to stay at her ashram in India, and something was really profound. Who's met Amma here? Does anyone know Amma? Okay, well, let's Google her, because she's amazing. She's a guru from South India, Southern India, and she's this beautiful being of light, and she is pure laughter. She's constantly laughing, and she's bubbling and light, and being in her energy field, the first time I started weeping, instantly sobbing, because of her energy. Right? Her energy was allowing me to see all the illusion that I had built up. And there was something about being in her energy field that allowed me to strip that away for a moment and experience reality. Oh, I remember this. This is how it was when I was a little person, before they taught me the ways of the world. And so Amma is this beautiful light, and the people around her are very precise. You can't sit that way, you can't stand that way, don't approach her this way, stand back there, you need to be 3 feet away. And she's just sitting there in all of her light. Now, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, right? She might need that, so that, she might need that. My experience of that situation, if you will, is here was this pure, essential being, an awakened being awakened within this dream. And people all around her were solidifying the dream. So she's in the middle of it saying, you are a infinite being. You are love and light. You are source energy. You are enlightened. Oh no, we need to sit a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way. We need to do a certain way. And you know what? As Dr. Sue Morter says, life is difficult and a challenge until it's not. Right? And so I had to do it all perfectly. When I came to Unity Teachings, I wanted to do it perfectly. When I was at Unity Village, Reverend Paul Hasselbeck did this great class, The Teachings of Charles Fillmore. And he'd put a quote up and he'd say, this is what Charles Fillmore taught, right? Yes. And then you put another quote up that said pretty much the exact opposite, Charles Fillmore. We're always evolving. And so when we're trapped in, there's a certain way to do it. How are we limiting the infinite possibilities? And so sometimes we grab onto a teaching. I did. Unity was my teaching for a while, and I wanted to learn it exactly right. What did Charles Fillmore say? What did Myrtle Fillmore say? And then I realized, as Paul Hasselbeck pointed out, they said all kinds of things that seemed counter to each other in some ways, but the fundamental teaching is there's one power and one presence. So here I am talking for 25 minutes, and it comes down to la, 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 la. It really does, right? To be true to ourselves, to recognize that we are in a collective dream, and the collective dream is different if you go here or down the street or to Orange County or to Texas or another place, and we have all kinds of judgments about that, which may or may not even be true, but we have them. The essential truth is always the same. You are love, you are light. You have said yes to the calling to be that in the world and to experiment here on planet Earth. To be that frequency of love. So that is the calling. That is the request. Are we ready to say yes to that calling?
Yes.
So just repeat after me. I am love.
I am love.
I am light.
I am light.
I have said yes to my calling.
I have said yes to my calling.
I am here to be love.
I am here to be love.
I am here to be source energy.
I am here to be source energy.
Life is so beautiful.
Life is so beautiful.
And so it is.
Amen.